Hey there, I'm Mr. Terry. I'm a high school history teacher. Welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video. All right, you guys have been loving the Fat Electrician stuff, and so have I. The dude's got great stories, and he's an incredible storyteller. So he recently put out this one, and it really caught my eye. It's called America's $300 million Sci-Fi Arsenal, the Advanced Combat Rifle Program. So I'm definitely going to be a student of this with the actual like military items. And what I like to do is add the historical context to this kind of stuff. All right, original link is down below. Make sure you're supporting him. And here we go. All right, what's up?
In the 1990s is actually real, and they all came from this program. Easy gun from every sci-fi movie in the 1990s is actually real, and they all came from this program. Today we're talking about the Advanced Combat Rifle Program. Ladies and gentlemen, it all started out so innocent in 1986 when the US government came out and said, hey, our current service rifle is the M16. We're looking for something a little bit more accurate. And when we say a little, we mean like twice as accurate. We want 100% improvement in accuracy across the board. That's the only stat we care about. We don't care about anything else. Just build the gun. But first,
hey, we're still in it's 86. We're still in Cold War era. Same year of like Chernobyl and stuff like that. Like that hysteria has not gone away. You've got the Soviets in Afghanistan. There's still plenty of war on the mind here. Plus, you're going to have Gulf War on the way here.
First, a word from our sponsor, because this video is brought to you by my favorite sporting goods store, Shields. They've got a bunch of really cool retail locations all across the United States and an even better online store where you can get pretty much anything that has anything to do with going outside or being physically active. Or beef jerky. They have a bunch of beef jerky, too. Anyways, if you use the link on my website or in the description down below, you're going to get free shipping on your order. Let's get back to this video. Just build the gun. At this exact moment, every single firearms contractor on the planet zooms in and they're like, excuse me, I get full creative reign to do whatever I want as long as it's accurate. And the US government's like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's see what you guys can come up with. At which point, they freak out.
Oh my God, okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
Okay, but then they reel it back in and they're like, hold on, calm down, it's okay. What's the budget on this program? To which the United States military...
United States, historically, okay, you look at how much money is going into it. There's no budget. There is no budget. It's actually a big criticism. U.S., especially with military contracts, spends so much, right? And could trim that down. Historically, it's been, there's no budget.
Military's kind of like, yeah, well, you know, whatever. We'll pay for it in the end. Just have fun.
Stay calm! Everybody calm down!
And at that exact...
By the way, Reagan era is big on that. We ramped up spending at that time.
moment, sanity, sobriety, common sense, they all leave the chat because all of these weapon manufacturers have just went from, we're going to build a new gun to we're going to build something to hunt aliens with. And not only that, they're going to try to make a...
Got to insert Star Wars here. Remember Reagan? I think he was just playing it, trying to play the Russians dumb, but the whole Star Wars idea, we're going to be putting up satellites that are going to be able to snipe down nuclear warheads out of space. And by the way, development for that was kind of real. My dad was working with a company at the time that was working kind of on like for microchips for the Star Wars program. It was totally infeasible, but it was legit. And there was money going to development for this stuff.
$1 bajillion while they do it because every weapons contractor gets the exact same idea. Not only are they going to build a gun, but they're going to recreate what a bullet is and then build a gun to fire this new type of bullet. That way they get to patent the gun and they get to patent the ammunition for it. So then the US government is on the hook to buy all their ammunition from this one sole provider. Just straight up, Jimmy, grab the wheel, throw it away. We're going to reinvent the whole thing. Yeah. So all four companies take the wheel, throw it away. They're going to reinvent the whole thing from the ground up. So a ton of different companies submitted their ideas, but America decided they were going to go with 4 of them for testing, and those 4 were AAI, Steyr, Heckler & Koch, and Colt. All right, starting off.
See, here's the thing, like those companies, they all know that each other are working on this stuff, which brings me to this point. Dude, the amount of espionage that goes on with militaries is insane because everybody's spying on each other to figure out all the military tech that everyone's developing. And the amount of money and resources the United States puts into protecting these secrets is insane. You know what, though? You got to be insane, too, if you're not protecting yourself. Because when you're online, there are so many people trying to see what you're looking at, what you're trying to access. You don't have to go to the lengths the U.S. does in protecting itself. You just need a VPN. Now, what I suggest is going with Surfshark VPN. First off, what they're going to do is mask what you're doing online so none of those prying eyes can see, because you'd be surprised how much identity theft is out there. And I've been a victim of identity theft. and it sucks. It's an enormous pain to fix. And that's if you're lucky enough to fix anything, because the damage might be done. You know, VPN can also be used for some fun stuff too. Like, for example, with Surfshark, you can connect to a Canadian server and get access to way more movies on a streaming service like Netflix. And it's great for online shopping because you can get better deals on stuff. One of those being cheaper flight tickets. All right, and right now, Surfshark and I are going to hook you up because we've got some great risk-free deals for you. So to already go along with a 30-day money-back guarantee, we're going to get you 3 extra months for free. Now, what you got to do is go down to the link down below in the description or go to surfshark.deals/Mr. Terry and use the code Mr. Terry to get that hookup. All right, let's get back to Fat Electrician.
With AAI and Steyr, they both had pretty much the same idea. They weren't going to shoot bullets at the enemy anymore. They were going to shoot flechettes at the enemy, which, if you don't know, is just a big metal dart. They literally created the Needler from the Halo video game.
It's my favorite Covenant weapon.
And their logic behind doing that was that these flechettes were going to be more accurate because they were hauling ass out of the barrels of these guns, okay? To put it into perspective, the muzzle velocity of a 5.56 round is like 3,000 feet per second-ish. An AK-47 7.62x39 ammunition is going like 2,200 feet per second. These flechettes were leaving the barrel at 4,900 feet per second. This thing's basically shooting fucking laser beams out of it. Yeah. And this essentially meant that the shooter wasn't
screw Coriolis effect, screw just gravity in general. This thing's going to hit its target if you can aim.
Going to have to compensate for bullet drop, in theory, increasing its accuracy. So that was the general idea of what they both kind of built their gun around, and pretty much where the similarities end, because the Steyr decided they were going to put their flechette inside of a polymer-cased ammunition. The polymer-cased rounds weighed like half as much as a brass-cased round, so that's good because you could carry more ammunition, more accuracy by volume. That's what America's all about. They're going to love it, in theory.
So it's people, especially if you haven't been in the military, completely underestimate how heavy stuff is, like ammunition. You see them carrying their packs around, dude. It's like 100 pounds. It can be crazy.
The issue they ran into, though, is that when you fire a bullet, it's basically a small controlled explosion. And when you do that inside of a piece of brass, that brass absorbs a lot of heat and then immediately gets ejected out of a gun. But when you do it with a polymer casing, the polymer does not absorb nearly as much heat before it gets ejected, meaning that all that heat goes right back into the gun, you know, like the barrel. This meant that the barrels, A, wore out way quicker, and B, if you fired too much and the barrel got too hot, and then you shoved your polymer-cased ammunition into the chamber, it would just cook off and the round would explode in your face. So, the Steyr gun is out. AAI, on the other hand, decided that they were going to put their flechette inside of a 5.56 brass casing, and it worked way better. The barrels lasted longer, the rounds weren't going to cook off. It seemingly fixed the issue that Steyr had. But
you know what, in wars, I mean, seriously, like World War II, we want to go back to that. Weapon reliability can win you wars. There's so many instances, again, you have weapons manufacturers who need to meet quotes. They may have to cut on some things, you know, like some of the things that can make something reliable, like he was talking about. There were guns on all sides, like the Soviets had some that you know, again, could be non-reliable. Clips can jam, stuff can happen. When you do that, you're gonna die. You can't.
But like I said, they stuck the flechette inside of a 5.56 round, which, if you don't know, is the same size as the M16 round, meaning that in theory you could stick these flechettes inside of an M16, and you could stick regular 5.56 ammunition inside of this new AAI rifle, but the AAI rifle wasn't equipped to handle it, and as soon as you tried to fire a regular 5.56 round, it would more than likely blow up in your face. So AAI is out. They broke the cardinal rule of engineering, okay? If it's not supposed to go there, make sure it doesn't fit there. Because if it fits there, a bunch of military dudes are absolutely gonna put it there at least once, twice if they like it, just to see what happens. Okay, and I realize that the vast majority of my audience is probably male, but for the small female minority, if you don't believe me on this, let's conduct an experiment.
So am I, about 90%. Male.
Pull your phone out, hit record, post it to the internet later because I want to see. But walk into a room where any man in your life is just sitting down watching TV. It could be your dad, your husband, your boyfriend, your dude that's a friend, any grown-ass man, and just ask him out of left field, like, hey, do circular saw blades fit on your weed whacker? He is immediately going to look at you and go, nope, and go back to watching TV because he knows with absolute certainty they don't, because he fucking tried. I promise you. 6 months ago, there was a baby tree that the weed whacker couldn't take out, and the tree was talking shit. He had to address the situation, and that was the solution that he tried first. Every dude does it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that was not without trying. Guys are idiots. They want to make crap. It makes them feel empowered, makes them feel manly, and have tried and failed and horribly failed with horrible results. All times of modifications for that crap.
Moral of the story, if it fits there, it goes there. If you don't want it to go there, don't let it fit. Okay, moving on. Next up, we have the magnetic accelerator gun from the Demolition Man movie.
Let's go. Pew.
So what, it needs batteries? What size? I mean, where the fuck do you find batteries in the future?
That is actually the G11 and is manufactured by Heckler Does Coke. I mean, Heckler and Coke, which if you don't know is a German company, and the G11 actually fires a caseless ammunition. That red block is actually the propellant or the black powder itself, so that entire thing gets burned up and there's nothing that actually ejects out of the gun. Yet some...
What do y'all think about caseless ammunition? What do you think the future is for that?
Somehow, the Germans figured out how to solve the heating issue that the polymer-cased ammunition had by not having a casing at all, and this is why this gun has earned the internet nickname of Kraut Space Magic. And while that caseless ammunition is super cool, it's not actually going to make it more accurate than the M16, so their strategy for that was to make this gun shoot at 2,100 rounds per minute in 3-round bursts.
Oh, it's so boring looking, though. Like, hey, we're in the future. Look at the video games and stuff. I mean, okay, if we're making this stuff, it's not now, but you know what I mean? Like, we got to get something on this. Let's get some kind of style here. Does it have to be just so boring?
That meant that the gun was so fast in 3-round burst mode that when you pulled the trigger, it would fire all 3 rounds before the person shooting the gun actually felt the recoil from the first bullet. And that worked out great, but after that 3rd round left the barrel, it kicked you like a horse.
But you're going to be accurate, though, if you don't have to deal with the recoil on those multiple shots, you know.
Which is a really interesting concept, and it did appear to work, so why on earth didn't America pick the G11? Well, first of all, the caseless ammunition was going to be really expensive, and secondly, this thing was designed by Germans left unsupervised with no budget. So obviously this gun is way over-engineered. Yeah, they tried to hide it by the fact that they made the outside of the gun look like it's made out of 4 pixels, but on the inside, when you go to take it apart, a fucking grandfather clock slides out of it. I mean, yeah, is the gun reliable? According to the testing, yeah, it was super reliable, but everything mechanical will fail eventually, and when that thing fails, you're going to have to take it to a watchmaker that's got a degree in modern art to even begin to attempt to fix the problem. So
it's just, I mean, it's simple. The more moving parts you have, the more that's something that's going to break, and things are going to break with you. Same with cars. Same with everything like that. Pretty sure I've used this gun. Where have I used this? I mean, they have in Call of Duty games and stuff too, but I assume with, again, all those mechanisms in there too, this thing must have been incredibly heavy. And again, I was telling you earlier about weight makes it's very important. It makes a difference.
Take it to a watchmaker that's got a degree in modern art to even begin to attempt to fix the problem. So for those reasons, the G11 is also out, which is unfortunate because it really would have tied together the Minecraft look that the American military had going on there with Digicam. And now we get to my personal favorite, because the sheer amount of balls it took to try to pull this off is unfathomable.
First off, this is the first time I've ever seen him smile. He's kind of smiling and smirking in this. Right away, I'm getting the vibes that this is going to be awesome. Okay. All right. We got hype up.
Colt's entry.
The Colt weapon has evolved from the M16A2 design.
So at least
that is straight up an M16. There's nothing special about it whatsoever. You got to realize Colt has been selling guns to the U.S. military for a very long time. They sold them the Colt 1911. They sold them most of the M16s they had at this point in time. They know how to sell to the U.S. government. They know their audience. So they walked into the lab and they're like, here's the plan. We're not going to do a fucking thing. We're going to make a big, ugly foregrip, slap it on there. We're going to say it helps with target acquisition. Then we're going to slap a scope on top that actually makes it more accurate. And then we're going to design a new type of bullet where 2 bullets go in 1 casing, and it's going to be called a duplex round. Yeah, Colt is walking in to pitch this new gun to Uncle Sam like,
let me show you something. Does that look right to you?
This entire
Be honest, I love that gun in Call of Duty. I love the ACRs.
Their plan is so stupid, it's genius. They're gonna walk into this meeting trying to pitch this gun to Uncle Sam, and they're like, here's the deal. All your guys already know how to shoot this gun. It's the same shit we've already sold you before, except now, every time you hit the enemy, it's worth double XP. Guess what? Every magazine your guys are carrying's got 60 bullets in it, not 30. You ever heard of semi-automatic? This is dose automatic. 3-round burst just became 6-round burst. It's still got full auto, but now it's on 2x speed. So at this point, it's looking like Colt's gonna win the bid. America's gonna be shooting BOGOs at every bad guy for the next 50 years. And then the one dude that all these weapons manufacturers didn't give a big Christmas bonus to is like, hey, if the only thing making that gun more accurate is the scope, and all these other guns also have scopes,
it's all fluff.
Why don't we try putting one of those scopes on the regular M16 and just see what happens?
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you the way that you are? Every time I try to do something fun, you make it not that way.
So that's exactly what
Oh, it's so true though. Again, we're going to be talking about these weapons are going to be very important in conflicts going forward. You know, you're going to have Desert Storm. You're going to have wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. You go with something like the M16, which has just been an all-time just hit, I guess, win for the U.S. military, going back to wars decades before that too. So don't change what ain't broke, just make it better.
they do. The scopes on the G11 and the Steyr are fixed in place and can't be removed, but the scope that's on the Colt and the AAI both can be, so they pop those off, throw them on a regular M16, and holy shit, it's more accurate than all of the other guns. So that's exactly what America goes with. The scope that's on the Colt ends up being the M134 scope that goes on pretty much every 240 and SAW to this day, and the scope that was on the AAI ends up being the ACOG. So this is great news because now America just has to buy a bunch of scopes and they don't have to buy a bunch of new guns as well. And now they're only out the money that it took for all the research of developing 4 new guns completely from the ground up, which is like, you know, $300 million to figure out that if you put a scope on a gun, it gets more accurate. You know, I started this video with every intention of doing the XM29 project.
Okay, I gotta jump in. This is the crap that, like, you gotta look at historically. United States needs to think like this before they just start throwing cash away to third-party weapons manufacturers. It's like, hey, exhaust everything on your end first, please. Do everything. And as simple as, okay, let's put a scope on our M16s. It's like it never needed to go to space lasers and the all the stuff that's going on there. It's like, come on, like, who's running the show here? All right, let's go back to the gun he wanted to talk about here.
A gun, it gets more accurate. You know, I started this video with every intention of doing the XM29 project next, and then the Army's new rifle, the XM7 after that, but I honestly don't know if I have it in me after this one. I need a beer. So I guess in conclusion, this is a story of how America ended up getting ACOGs and M134 machine gun optics because the US military decided they were going to spend $300 million to come to the conclusion that sticking a scope on top of a rifle does in fact make it more accurate. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
I got a big point to make. Hold on. So it makes sense now when you look at military budget and how the United States basically spends more money than tons of every country behind us in that list put together, with most of them all being allies of all of this insane money that goes in when it could be fixed when you already have the solutions in front of you, right? We got to get people that know what they're doing. Anyways, but it is interesting to see, you know, how the history of modern warfare and warfare technology changes and what pushes those changes, whether it's in wartime, whether it's in peacetime, whether it's Cold War time, all that stuff. You could see that constantly developing. So keep that in mind when you learn about military changes and technology changes. Always think about the historical context behind it. Going to get a bigger picture and explains everything. All right. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks to her. Fat Electrician doing this. This was great. Original video link down below. One more big thanks to Surfshark for hooking us up and sponsoring this video. Again, get yourself hooked up. Links down below. You'll get all set up. All right, we'll see y'all next time.